Welcome to the Run Radio podcast. My name's Trina Wilcox. My guest today is Misty Lane. Welcome.
Hello, it's great to be here.
It's great to have you. I've gotten to know you a little bit and some of your work, and you're very artistic and creative. In fact, so much that you're going to be showcasing some of your work at the Monster Makers event this coming Saturday. So, can you tell me a little bit about what your work is all about?
So I am an astrologer and a graphic designer. So most of my artwork is astrology themed, influenced by my astrology learning journey, as well as my personal connection to the cosmos. So I began teaching myself graphic design in about June of 2021, alongside learning astrology. And I just found that a lot of the archetypal narrative in astrology really helped me to develop creative narratives as well. So I'll be selling my art prints at the Monster Makers this Saturday at KG Coffee at 12 to 4. And I brought my little wine lady. This is one of my
Oh,
favorite
so
ones to show
cute.
you. And yeah, they're all influenced by my personal story. So I made that one while I was working at a vineyard.
Let's go back a little bit about how you became interested in astrology and how long ago.
Yeah, so I guess the popularity of astrology really ebbs and flows over the years. So in our generation, astrology really picked up in popularity with the rise of social media and astrology memes. And so that was really my first deep dive into it. It was a really wonderful way for me to connect with people, especially just like coworkers or people at parties. It was really fun to connect with people over zodiac signs. And then it just became a rabbit hole from there. I just kept going and didn't stop.
Now, I know some people live and die by these charts and everything. Some are more lighthearted and fun with it. I think I know, but where are you on that spectrum?
Um, I mean, I take it pretty seriously. I'm all about having fun though. So
Yeah.
I recognize that that more fun aspect of astrology is a great way to introduce people to it. But I am going to astrology school with an institution called Kepler College. They're one of the longest standing astrology schools in the country. So I am taking my studies very seriously. Um, and, it's just a different level with anyone, but at its core, the astrology chart is kind of a navigation device for your life. It's a snapshot and a roadmap. And so an astrologer is really just the person reading the map for you.
Explain a little bit, really what more there is about it, because for a lot of us, all we know is that section in the magazine that you
Yeah.
go to read your horoscope, and that's about it. But it's a lot deeper than that. So can you kind of explain what you're looking at and what you're seeing and what kind of information that could tell an individual?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, one's birth chart, their astrology chart, it's like the roadmap to their life. So, um, when you get an astrology chart reading, they're basically taking a snapshot of the planets in the sky, and where they were at the moment that you were brought into existence, right? So that kind of showcases, positions of power. What are your strengths in this lifetime? And it also showcases your weaknesses. And if you do begin a journey with astrology and learning your own birth chart, it can be a major self-development tool. In my journey, it really helped me face, my shadow side, really face myself. And, it kind of provided the direction for me to go to overcome my weaknesses and also to emphasize where I do have strengths and how I can lean more into that.
What's a shadow side?
That's just the part of yourself that, maybe you're a little ashamed of, or, maybe this is the part of yourself that you may feel, maybe is not such a great person. Everyone has, their inner duality. There are people who are really bright and happy, but there's always, the underside to that, people who are dealing with a lot of sadness and stuff. So it's just a way to navigate your duality in my experience.
So, what made you think to intertwine your graphic design and astrology passions?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of learning them at the same time, so it was just they were helping each other out. But astrology is really influenced by archetypal narratives. There are a lot of stories behind the planets and the Greek and Roman gods that they're connected to. So there's always a story behind it, and it's rich in imagery as well. So, for example, this poster behind me, that's the one I call the Aquarian. So it's influenced by the way I see Aquarius, and they're very future oriented. They're known as the water bear. So I have the waterfall in there. My subject is looking off into the distance in the future. So there's just so much beautiful imagery that's associated with the signs and the planets. And I found that I was really able to tap into that and use that creatively.
Are you a person that you're kind of in the moment, or do you see a future like laid out for how you want your artistic and creative passions to go and align?
Um, I'm I wouldn't say that I have a path perfectly lined out for me. I am just kind of going with the flow at this point in my life. I have been using my own natal chart to kind of help me navigate the choices I make in life. And so I find by following that, I've been able to move into some sort of direction. And I'm just keep moving, keep following the guidance that I gain from it and moving in a direction. And yeah, I've been really getting involved with the local art community. I've been really getting involved as well with local spiritualists and other people who are really into astrology and divination as well.
If someone wanted you to create a personal graphic for them, would you work with them to come up with an image that reflected how they see the world and their signs?
I totally want to do that at some point. Potentially, I have been exploring the idea of taking commissions and combining this in some way, like doing a natal chart reading for someone and then taking that chart and turning it into a digital collage of mine based off of just what I interpret from their chart. So that is definitely something I want to do in the future.
You have other creative sides that you dabble in different mediums and things like that, or are you strictly with the graphic design?
Yeah, so I will always consider myself first and foremost to be a writer.
Oh,
I went to school for writing, majored in technical writing, but minored in creative writing. And it's another part of why I love astrology because of that storytelling aspect behind it. So that is my first and foremost art form, and everything I do otherwise, that's just kind of an extension of the way that I like to tell stories. I'm also beginning to dabble in working creatively with video, motion graphics, a little bit of animation. So I'm excited to see where I go with that.
very fun. Let's talk about your writing a little bit. Let's see. How much have you dived into longer forms? Like, have you got as far as a book, or do you like short stories? What is kind of draws you in?
I've mostly done short stories. Usually romance themed.
Okay.
Otherwise, I have been leaning towards more nonfiction writing, and I have been exploring that in my um, design and astrology practice as well, just with writing newsletters, blog posts, and long form social media posts as well, just talking about the way people can connect to the astrology transits going on at this time. So that's been my most recent writing outlet for sure.
Very interesting. Have you thought much about publishing if you get to that point, how you would do it?
It's definitely something I've entertained. I do definitely want to do a collection of short stories and potentially publish that someday. And someday maybe potentially writing about astrology as well, but that is something that would be in the very distant future, I think.
Very exciting. I think you've got lots of options. You seem like a very talented, kind, interesting person. And thank you for sharing a little bit about your work. Where can people go to learn even more about you and keep up with your blogs?
Yeah, right now I'm just active on social media on mostly Instagram. So you can find me on Instagram at my.mercurialmind. And my logo will be a little lady with a TV in front of the planet Mercury. So you can find me there. And I'm still growing. So that's the first place to find me, but I'm sure there'll be more.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. We will see you Saturday at the Monster Makers event. That's July 1st at Kaju Coffee. The Drew Lewis Foundation building is where you can find that. You go inside, you'll find the coffee shop and noon to 4. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.